Got a new toy to play with. This is gonna be a lot of fun, guys. I've been excited for this to come in the mail. Didn't take too long. We get to open it up, bust it open, and talk about it.
She like my baby mama, know how to take care of me, give my baby problems, you gonna regret everything. So I let her know, gotta let her know. Get through the front door, I'll be ready for it. And if it's what you want,
Full frame zoom lenses with a professional grade aperture number are hard to come by for a reasonable price. Now we're going to be talking today about a zoom lens that I recently picked up, as you guys saw in the unboxing, that I've fallen in love with, and for the price you absolutely cannot beat it. So this video is titled The Best Full Frame Zoom Lens for under $500 or something like that. And this lens I did pick up for $410, and that is after shipping and taxes, although I think you might have some trouble finding it on the market for a price like that unless you get lucky like I did. First off, zoom lenses are fantastic. They are loved by both photographers and videographers alike just for their versatility and the fact that you don't have to have like 50 different primes to cover the range that one zoom lens can cover. And so mainly zoom lenses are for quality, but more so convenience. In many cases, there are some benefits to use primes over zooms as far as image quality goes and the overall look, but for this lens, this is a 24 to 70 millimeter lens. If I were to get a 24mm prime, a 35, a 50, and a 85 or something close to a 70, that would be very, very, very expensive and would run me much more than $410. So now that you guys know why zoom lenses are efficient, why photographers and videographers tend to resort to those for shooting, we're going to talk about this specific lens, the Tamron 24 to 70 SP f2.8. This is image stabilized, or VC, which is like vertigo control. I once knew what Tamron's VC stood for, but it's basically image stabilization. So yeah, I'm gonna throw this lens on the camera right now. We're gonna talk about it, review it, and also go do some parkour and free running with some buddies of mine shooting with this lens to show you guys. All right, so we are now shooting on this lens, and it's nice because right off the bat, you guys can tell that we have a wider frame, wider field of view with it on 35mm as opposed to the 50mm we were just shooting on. So for those of you who don't really know what qualifies this lens to be a professional stamped lens, well, not the fact that it's a 24 to 70mm, but the fact that it has an aperture of f2.8 and that it suits full frame cameras. f2.8 is widely known to be the slowest aperture number that you can have in order to qualify a lens for professional usage. For a zoom lens, this is about as fast you can get, unless you opt for Canon's newest RF 28 to 70 f2 lens. But I doubt you will be doing that because that costs $3,000. You could literally buy 6 of these Tamron lenses for the price of one Canon 28 to 70. So I recently got this lens in the mail. Why do I like it so much? Before I started using this new Tamron lens that I got, well, it's technically a used lens, so it's not new. Before I started using it, I was shooting on the Canon EF 24 to 105 L lens. That was an f4, and it was the Mark I version of that lens. I was not blown away in any means by that lens or its performance. The image stabilization was fine. It made a lot of noise when you turn it on, so that was really annoying. It made this kind of like white noise dog whistle sound, and that really bothered me. Also, it was an f4. It didn't really perform that great. The image wasn't sharp or crisp at all. Let's be real, most lenses aren't very sharp at wide open aperture, so wide open at f4, it was not sharp at all. This lens, on the other hand, the 24 to 70, at f4, it is exceptionally sharp and beats the Canon 24 to 105 in every sharpness test, whether it's center sharpness or corner sharpness. You guys can see Tony and Chelsea Northrup's video review of the Tamron lens that we're shooting on right now versus the Canon 24 to 105. I'll link that in the description below. But I was looking on KEH Camera, a used camera slash lens photographer online website, and in their outlet store I came across this 24 to 70 f2.8 lens for $400. And now the 24 to 105 f4 that I picked up, I paid about $500 for that. And so I'd done my research, I'd watched plenty of videos, reviews, talked to people, and to get a lens that was far superior for a lower cost of the crappy lens that I got, that was a no-brainer. So I sent back my 24 to 105 and I picked up this lens, and I'm very happy with that decision. At f2.8, you guys might be able to tell it's not the sharpest, cleanest looking image. There are some vignetting problems. I don't know if you can tell here because I'm properly lit, but maybe when we go to Minos Gymnastics and do some flips, you guys might be able to see that. Once you take the lens up to f4, all of the vignetting and sharpness problems pretty much disappear and you get a very crisp, clean looking image. despite the fact that you're at f4. Personally, me, I love to shoot wide open almost 100% of the time, so that's what I'll be using this lens for, to get that f2.8. Otherwise, I probably would have just stayed with the 24-105. Also, this is one of very few 24-70 zoom lenses that has image stabilization in it. Canon did recently release an RF 24-70 f2.8 lens that has image stabilization, but it is much more expensive. So for $1,500 cheaper, you can grab this lens with the same on paper specs and capabilities, but at a much more affordable cost. Now, sometimes, yes, price does come with a sacrifice in quality. Before we start with those tests, I want to go over my gripes and some of the cons that I noticed off the bat with this lens. One, it is very heavy, so it's much heavier than the 24-105 that I had. Two, yes, at f2.8, there are some not great images as far as sharpness and vignetting go. Also at 24mm, there is some heavy distortion, so expect to get a borderline fisheye appearance in your image. Again, this doesn't bother me because that's one of the things that I enjoy about wide angle lenses. However, for those of you that it would bother, just be aware of that. You can fix that in post-production, but it's always nice when you don't have to. When you throw the lens from 50mm to 70mm, it's not quite actually 70mm that you're getting. This is due to some focus breathing problems, but it is kind of annoying because there isn't much of a zoom going from 50 to 70, or at least there's not as much as you would think. So fortunately, I have a 70-200 f2.8. Even though my 24-70 doesn't go all the way up to 70, I pretty much have all of my focal ranges covered that I would need as a videographer and a photographer. Some pluses for this lens: it does focus very quickly and it's very silent at doing so. And I'm very impressed because I've owned one Tamron lens before. It was for a crop sensor body and the focusing was just so loud. It was crazy. It sounded like a lawnmower. And it was a USD, it was an ultrasonic drive lens, but this one being a USD lens as well, I was kind of thinking and expecting the same thing, but I was pleasantly surprised when I couldn't even hear it refocusing. The image stabilization with this lens is great. Tamron does state that there are up to 4 stops of image stabilization, which is phenomenal, so realistically there's probably about 3, but that's good enough for me, especially when I pair it with the digital image stabilization that the EOS RP has. And for me, 24mm is the perfect vlogging focal length for me. My very first camera was the Panasonic G7, and I bought a Olympus 12-40mm lens. Now, I didn't realize that a micro four thirds sensor would crop it to a 24-80mm lens, also doubling the f2.8 aperture to a 5.6. So I was just kind of a noob thinking that I had a genuine 12-40 f2.8 lens. And I loved vlogging on that setup. I thought the wide angle view was perfect for me. So with the 24-70, that's reminiscent of my old camera and lens setup that I had, which I absolutely loved, except the autofocus wasn't great, the colors weren't great, capabilities, all of that, full frame. But it's nice to feel at home with the focal length of 24mm, and yes, you certainly can vlog on 24mm, which you guys will see in the test footage later on in this video. So being a 24-70mm lens, this does fall under the trinity of zoom lenses that a photographer would need. So being that like a 16-35mm f2.8, a 24-70, and a 70-200. Recently, but actually kind of a long time ago, Tamron released the G2 version of their 24-70 f2.8. So this is an updated version. The build of the lens and just the aesthetics of it look phenomenal. It looks so much more modern than this one does. And apparently the optics are improved, image stabilization and whatnot. Of course, Tamron wants you to think that their G2 version, which is much more expensive, is much better than their old one, but that's simply not the case. The G2 version of the 24-70 suffers from much worse focus breathing issues than the original one that I picked up for cheap. So I hope that gives you some confidence in buying the older version. And no, this lens is not out of date by any means, even though it's relatively old and isn't the most current version of the 24-70 offered by Tamron. It is probably one of the best options that you can get from Tamron. Now, yes, certainly there are better options that Canon offers. As far as third-party lens manufacturers, this is probably one of the best renditions of the 24-70 you can get, especially for the frickin' price, because it is dirt cheap. I was able to get it, like I said, for $410. You guys might have a problem finding it for that price unless you get really lucky with an eBay bid, or if KEH on their outlet store places up another lens like this. There are some minor cosmetic damages, scratches on the front glass element, but you can't see that in the image which I'm very grateful for. It showed up in the package without any protection, like literally no lens cap and no back end cap, so that was kind of stressful. To unbox it and take it out, I was really worried for a second there. But never fear, it is in perfect working condition, so I'm very grateful to the FedEx ground crew that I used to work at FedEx ground. It sucked. I worked there for 2 weeks and I blew up my back and I quit. Right before we head out and grab coffee, I just want to say that this is all shot without any GorillaPods or handheld camera attachments to get rid of those micro jitters, because I want you guys to see how the image stabilization works on shooting just handheld. It's around the corner. So I've been growing my hair out for about 8 months now, 6 months, something like that. And I'm gonna get cut today. So we're gonna have a big haircut. I'm kind of scared, but I'm excited because it definitely needs it. Split ends are everywhere. It doesn't look great, the style that it's in. It makes me look super Asian, like really bad. So I'm excited to get this chopped off, and then we're gonna go train at Midwest Gymnastics tonight. Let me know how you guys think this footage looks in the comment section below. I would love to hear your thoughts. All right, so we got a fresh cut. How do you guys think it looks? I think it turned out pretty well. I'm kind of relieved. I'm glad that we were able to shorten it up, look more presentable and professional. Hopefully I can grab you some more clients. If you want any photography or video done for you, check out my portfolio. The link is in the description, and my email as well if you're interested.
Guys, it's Ben Martin, the one and only in the William Turnquest. Are you on Spark still or no?
I don't know.
I swear. You're on it.
Well, I mean, yeah.
How are you, sir?
I'm good.
Matt, how are you?
Good.
Are you a tricker?
No.
A tramper?
Sometimes. I'm a ninja.
You're a ninja.
I'm a ninja.
I was gonna slap you. But what are you?
I'll go with Tramper. It sounds
You're
better.
a ninja.
All right, guys. So you know me. I'm Ben Martin. You know, flexing in the American Ninja Warrior. Me right here. Also, your boy Isaiah Michael Stevens here tore his freaking ACL, so I'm out for a hot minute. I tore it like 2 weeks ago, not even, and I'm already trying A-twist. Yeah, I need to stop, or else I'm gonna die.
Self-harm's not the way.
Shut up! Don't tell me how to cope.
Yeah. All right, sorry for the outfit change, but things were crazy. I want to talk about what happened at the gym tonight. So that lache that I did, the 14 feet and 9-inch lache that I got, it took me about, I'm gonna have to go back, watch all the takes and count how many times it took me, but I'm guessing it took me somewhere near 17 tries to get that one lache. Now, by far, that's the furthest lache I've ever done. A lache is jumping from one bar to another, swinging with your hands. Just to spare you the time, I won't go super in depth into what a lache is. I'm just, oh man, my hands are still shaky. Most of the night, except for a few flips that you guys saw me doing, was spent dedicated to getting that monstrous gap. My furthest lache before 14 feet 9 inches was 12 feet and 6 inches, so 12 and a half feet. So I pretty much added 2 feet and 3 inches onto my personal record previously. So at the beginning, I really thought there was literally no way that I could ever get that, so I just kept trying to humor myself. And I kept going for it, kept trying, attempting. By some miracle, eventually, I was able to get it. So that was really crazy. Overall, I was very happy with what the lens was able to do. It was wide enough to where I could just set it down, start recording, and do my thing without having to worry about going out of frame. There were no problems whatsoever with vlogging or with shooting things that I wanted to be less distorted. I think it was just a really great all-around lens for my uses. So if you want to see more on this lens, next week I'm planning on uploading a video. I'm going out to downtown Minneapolis to do some epic street photography, shooting on the Canon EOS RP and with this 24 to 70 f2.8 lens. So you guys will be able to see some of the still capabilities that this guy has as well. So stay tuned for that. Hit the bell icon so that you can be notified whenever I post or upload any content here on YouTube.